So the Indiana Fever have to be the most likable, hated team ever, because every interview that comes out kind of confirms what we've heard, felt, seen, that there is a degree of animosity directed towards the team in Indianapolis. Lexi Hull just said it the other day in her Glamour interview that there's jealousy in the WNBA towards the Fever due to Clark and her popularity. Sophie Cunningham has said there's a target on their back. If you remember Caitlin saying off camera, the league's going to hate this or they're going to hate this after they won the Commissioner's Cup trophy. But Aliyah Boston is another subject entirely.
Sydney Colson dropped the bombshell live, confirming what many whispered. The WNBA harbors deep animosity towards the Indiana Fever and a palpable negativity directed specifically at Aliyah Boston. It wasn't just isolated gossip anymore. It was an acknowledged league-wide sentiment. Her words, unfiltered and direct, peeled back the curtain on the real locker room dynamics, revealing an undercurrent of resentment that few dared to speak about openly until now. The league's true feelings were laid bare, undeniable and stark.
But you've also seen, a buildup of complaints on social media around AB. So you wondered if it was isolated or something actually felt in the league. Apparently, it was the latter, because Sydney Colson was on Post Moves with Aliyah Boston and Candace Parker and had this to say about how AB is viewed.
How would you say
AB,
that?
as you know, AB has people feel a way about AB in the league, and without me playing on a team with her and getting to know her faith, like the kind of person that she is, I'm the kind of person that I experience people for myself.
The Indiana Fever are arguably the most polarizing team in the league right now, a phenomenon truly unique. Every interview seems to solidify the quiet observations and murmurs that there's a distinct animosity swirling around the Indianapolis squad. Lexi Hull herself, in a revealing Glamour interview, admitted to widespread jealousy within the WNBA aimed squarely at the Fever, fueled by Caitlin Clark's unprecedented popularity and undeniable impact. It's a target on their backs, a sentiment echoed by Sophie Cunningham, confirming the widespread belief that they are not just competing but are in a battle against underlying resentment
and deliver it as much as anybody. So that part of it is understandable if somebody gets irritated when they catch a bow in the chest or something like that. But she seems like she apparently is, clearly is, such a sweet and intelligent person. So it's hard to see how anybody could actually have a problem with Aliyah Boston. Maybe it's because her and Caitlin Clark have embraced on the sideline, "You're going to be amazing because you are amazing." And Sydney Colson didn't stop there. She talked about the Fever reception as a whole and what has to be dealt with when you play on that specific team.
Whether I'm playing, things.
This animosity isn't new. It has roots reaching back further than most realize. Even Caitlin Clark, after an early victory, was reportedly heard off-camera remarking, "The league's going to hate this," or "They're going to hate this," following their Commissioner's Cup trophy win. It was a premonition, a quiet acknowledgement of the storm brewing beneath the surface, a sense that their success, particularly with Clark's arrival, would not be met with universal embrace. Her prophetic words now seem to perfectly encapsulate the very real tension that Sydney Colson has now openly confirmed.
Such a sweet and intelligent person. So it's hard to see how anybody could actually have a problem with Aliyah Boston. Maybe it's because her and Caitlin Clark have embraced on the sideline, "You're going to be amazing because you are amazing." And Sydney Colson didn't stop there. She talked about the Fever reception as a whole and what has to be dealt with when you play on that specific team.
Whether I'm playing, we want things to look like what we want them to look like. And I knew coming into this season, once people started talking, once I was here and experiencing it,
But Aliyah Boston is a different story, a unique flashpoint for this revealed animosity. Coming from the revered South Carolina Gamecocks program under the legendary Dawn Staley, a program that also produced stars like Asia Wilson, Boston's pedigree is impeccable. Yet, there's an unspoken tension that surrounds her on the court, something that seems to consistently rub some players and fans the wrong way. It's a distinct feeling, separate from the general Fever resentment, pointing to specific issues with Boston's on-court presence and style of play.
We want things to look like what we want them to look like. And And I knew coming into this season, once people started talking, once I was here and experiencing it, like, people had a lot to say. There was a lot of negativity coming my way, and I just looked at it like, you know, I'm not used to this. Typically, I'm the person that people are just like, oh, we love Sid, that's funny, blah blah blah. Some people be like, not funny, and I'm like, they don't have a sense of humor. But like, for the most part, for the most part, people have liked me and have admired me from the outside.
The animosity towards Boston isn't just about her team, it's personal. We've seen her engage in intense trash talk with players like Aliyah Wilson, which is a common competitive part of the game. However, a buildup of complaints on social media around AB has hinted at something deeper. It begged the question, was it just isolated fan reactions, or was there an actual sentiment felt within the league itself? Sydney Colson's recent comments, shockingly, confirm the latter, exposing the true scale of this feeling away towards Boston.
I think I understood even more so that this is definitely a part of my plan. When people get to not liking you for no reason, I'm probably exactly where I need to be. So once the injury happened, I'm like, once again, this is something that I don't fully get, but this must be where I need to be, sidelined. And it made me an even more vocal leader. It made me pay attention to things maybe that I wasn't paying attention to that other people had going on, so I could be more tapped into if they're having a hard time and I need to come over here and help them out, whether it's mental, physical, whatever. I had to get outside of me, and that was the lesson that I learned.
The stark reality emerged when Sydney Colson appeared on Post Moves with Aliyah Boston and Candace Parker. Colson, a Fever teammate, openly confirmed that people feel a way about AB in the league. This was the definitive revelation many had suspected, but few had heard directly. Her statement wasn't just an observation, it was an insider's confirmation, an uncomfortable truth spoken out loud. It put an end to speculation, cementing the widespread negative perception of Boston among her peers, a perception now irrefutably exposed.
You know, not playing a ton in Las Vegas, not playing a ton for the Fever, a veteran, not getting the big contracts and everything like that. But the aspect about, you know, what she got unfairly hated on or hated on for no reason around Indiana is interesting, because if you do remember, she came in as the face of the league, you know, and so beloved and all those things, which was kind of funny when she decided to sign with the Fever. And there was a little bit of that with DeWanna Bonner too, because people were like, and Fever fans were like, look, you know, the reputation that the Fever have isn't actually true. And then the whole Bonner situation fell apart and she bolted, and we know how everybody feels about that.
Despite the revealed animosity, Colson's personal experience painted a contrasting picture of Boston. Without me playing on a team with her and getting to know her, her faith, like the kind of person that she is, Colson shared, she's formed her own opinion. She emphasized that she experiences people for herself, not just by listening to hearsay. While acknowledging it's silly to ignore what's been heard, Colson chose to connect with Boston personally, discovering a sweet and intelligent individual behind the league's cold shoulder.
Different label. But all Sydney Colson really did, all she really did was confirm what we all knew. It's not exactly breaking news, but confirmed out of the mouth of Sydney Colson is that the Indiana Fever tend to send people into a frenzy. And it even applies to AB. Who would have thought?
It's true that Aliyah Boston can be quite physical on the court, delivering as much as she takes, which might understandably irritate opponents who catch a stray elbow or a bump in the chest. That aspect of her game is certainly understandable as a source of irritation, yet the deep-seated feeling away seems disproportionate for someone who is, by all accounts, a genuinely sweet and intelligent person off the court. This disconnect between her character and the league's perception makes the confirmed animosity all the more perplexing and unsettling. A curious possibility linking Boston's rising unpopularity surfaces around her interactions with Caitlin Clark. Perhaps the animosity intensified after public displays of camaraderie, like their sideline embrace, where Clark told Boston, "You're going to be amazing, because you are amazing." In a league where the Fever already faced jealousy, Boston's close association with Clark might have inadvertently drawn her into the broader anti-Fever sentiment, amplifying the individual resentment she was already experiencing. It's a connection that adds another layer of complexity to the exposed feelings. Colson didn't stop at Boston. She then broadened her candid remarks to encompass the entire Fever team, detailing the reception as a whole. She knew going into the season that playing for the Fever would be different, but once she was here and experiencing it, the negativity was palpable. People had a lot to say, she recalled, with a lot of negativity coming my way. It wasn't just about Clark or Boston. It was about the jersey, the team, the entire situation that drew unwarranted disdain from within the league. Colson, a veteran known for her likable, humorous personality, wasn't accustomed to such widespread disapproval. "I'm not used to this," she admitted. "Typically, I'm the person that people are just like, we love Sydney, she's funny." Yet, the wave of negativity from playing for the Fever didn't truly faze her. She clarified that she does what she does for her teammates, for the love of the game, and for her own enjoyment, never for other people's approval. This resilience highlights the unique pressure players face when joining the Fever. Her surprising perspective on the negativity was truly profound. Colson explained, "Once I got here and was experiencing people's disapproval, it did not really faze me because I still understood. I think I understood even more so that this is definitely a part of my plan when people get to not liking you for no reason. I'm probably exactly where I need to be." This philosophy transforms the hatred into a signpost, a confirmation of her path, suggesting a higher purpose behind the league's widespread disapproval. Even an unexpected injury which sidelined Colson became a lesson in this journey. She saw it as an opportunity to grow, making her an even more vocal leader. "The injury forced her to pay attention to things maybe that I wasn't paying attention to that other people had going on, allowing her to better support her teammates mentally and physically. I had to get outside of me, and that was the lesson that I learned in this," she shared, framing adversity as a crucial part of her personal and professional development with the Fever. The unfair hatred directed at Colson, who had been a beloved figure before joining the Fever, is particularly striking. She arrived in Indianapolis, having been widely admired, making her experience of people's disapproval even more telling about the intensity of the anti-Fever sentiment. It underscored that the animosity wasn't just for star players or rookies. It was an organizational prejudice that even veterans with respected careers could not escape. It revealed the pervasive nature of the negative feelings emanating from within the league. The Fever's situation mirrors that of America's team labels in other sports. Just as teams like the Dallas Cowboys, Los Angeles Lakers, or New York Yankees garner intense scorn simply for their prominence, the Fever's elevated status makes them a larger target. This heightened visibility invites social media attacks, broadcaster criticism, and general disdain. It's a cocktail of fame and animosity that comes with being the most talked about team, intensifying every aspect of their journey, regardless of individual player action. Beyond typical America's team backlash, there's an uglier side to the Fever's treatment. Remember the baseless allegations after the Sky game early in the season, or the stuff said about the Fever that mysteriously doesn't apply to any other team. There seems to be a double standard in what's allowed to be said or done when it concerns Indianapolis. This disproportionate criticism highlights a deeper, more malicious undercurrent of disapproval, suggesting that the team is held to a different, often unfair standard by league observers and peers alike. Aliyah Boston, despite her exemplary conduct and background, found herself in this crossfire. One would expect her demeanor and origins to shield her, yet once she became attached to Caitlin Clark and was throwing in that mix, not to mention her physical play, she received a different label. This illustrates how proximity to Clark and the Fever brand, combined with a willingness to play tough, can drastically alter perception. It exposes the nuanced layers of why Boston, specifically, has become a focal point of league-wide disdain. Ultimately, Sydney Colson didn't deliver breaking news in the traditional sense, but her direct confirmation out of her own mouth was seismic. She gave voice to what everyone had long suspected. The Indiana Fever ignite a unique frenzy of animosity, and even a player of Aliyah Boston's caliber is not immune. Colson's candid account solidifies the narrative of a league divided, revealing the raw, unvarnished truth about the palpable resentment brewing beneath the surface, confirming the real feelings are indeed hostile and widespread.